All right. Well, good morning, everybody. Actually, good afternoon from Central Florida. I'm actually on the road today with the weekly cyber update and keeping you updated on all the cyber threats, what's happening. This is the first time we've taken the show on the road, so this is interesting. I actually just got done filming a behind the scenes of how we have this set up, how we're doing it. So we'll get that video over to producer Micah, and we'll get that out to you guys so you can see how this is doing or how we do this. And you have Nathan, my other son, is filming some stuff right now. Just kind of let you see the work that it takes to bring a live studio out in the field. It's complicated. So this week we've got a lot going on. Like I said, I'm down here in Central Florida right now. And it's supposed to snow back home soon. So right now I'm not feeling too bad about being down here. But we will be back in time to see the snow fly, unfortunately. But I'm here, I'm speaking at a conference. I speak a lot on the road to organizations to teach them how to be secure, how to secure themselves. This is no exception. I'm actually at a pharmaceutical conference down here, and I'm taking the time to speak to these folks and let them know what's out there, how to do it. And I really enjoy this part of what I do. So we're going to go through the news a little bit, and we've already started putting the show together for next week. So if you're interested, one of the first things we're going to talk about next week is the 2026 predictions. Google has actually put out a great cybersecurity forecast document that we're going to start diving into from a research perspective. And I hope to just kind of bring you, just kind of what to expect next year, how to be better prepared. And, don't just, I guess, kind of a spoiler, don't be surprised. AI is going to have a lot to do with that conversation. So let's go ahead and jump right into the headlines. The first thing we're going to talk about today is a backdoor that is self-propagating through WhatsApp contacts. Probably one of the best things that you can do from this standpoint is to keep WhatsApp secure. There are some settings inside WhatsApp to make sure that unknown communications are not getting to you, so that you don't fall victim to somebody trying to just send you some random message through WhatsApp. So just be aware that there is a lot of what we talked about today is just bringing awareness to things that you may not know about. If you use WhatsApp, you may be like, oh, shoot, I didn't know that was going on. I should go to the App Store or, go to the Play Store and make sure that my applications are all up to date. I should probably spend some time looking through the settings of WhatsApp and making sure that I have all the appropriate security features hooked up and they're running. So you'll find a link to the article in the show notes. Producer Micah puts those in there, and you can take a look for yourself at that particular article. One of the next ones is we have the city of Columbus. We have reported on the city of Columbus a lot. They had an absolutely awful cybersecurity incident a while back, and we've done a lot of talk about that. In this particular case, the city of Columbus is alerting residents to a phishing email scam that's currently circulating right near that appears to come from City of Columbus Planning Department. And these emails it's very common. These are very common emails to see from local government organizations. I was just talking to someone earlier this morning who was telling me about a situation where they were just in a conversation about with somebody about a business deal. And about an hour or two after that, one of the parties in that conversation got a weird email from the person that he had just talked to a couple hours ago. And in that particular case, and he was telling me how it was his email, it was his email address, it was relevant conversation, and it was coming from him. It wasn't an impersonation attempt. And what ended up happening was the sending party had been compromised. So, always keep that in mind, that you can take all the time in the world to secure yourself, do all the right things, have multi-factor, but someone else is going to be compromised and you are going to be the receiving party, even though you're as secure as can be. So, I just recommend very heavily that you disable administrative rights on a computer. That's probably one of the easiest, simplest, low cost, actually zero cost things you can do to stop software from being installed. So if something was to go on your computer and try and execute, make sure that you shut it down by just removing the administrative rights. And, I talk a lot about securing the elderly and our aging parents. And those are all, very quick, very easy wins, things that you can do to secure yourself. So in this particular case, I'm just bringing up an article that, again, will show up in the notes that the city of Columbus was warning their citizens about an email that says it's coming from the City of Columbus Planning Department, but in actual reality, it wasn't. We're going to go into some bleeping computer articles now. If you do not, Bleeping Computer does not sponsor this. They do not know who I am, neither do they probably care. But they're a really good source for information. So if you're trying to figure out how you stay updated out there, I would 100% recommend Bleeping Computer. In this case, Microsoft Edge has now gotten a scareware sensor for faster scam detection. So Microsoft is introducing a new scareware sensor for Edge, the Edge web browser. It will detect scam pages more quickly and ensure that Defender Smart Screen blocks them faster. Microsoft Defender is a built-in security tool that's built into Microsoft. And in scareware scams, fraudsters use aggressive landing pages to trick potential victims into believing that their devices have been compromised. And so the smart screen is supposed to detect that that's happening and block that communication. I fully am appreciative of something like this. This was actually introduced last November at the Ignite conference. Ignite is a Microsoft conference. So just something to take out of this, please know your browsers. When I talk to business organizations, I talk to them about the CIS controls, the Center for Internet Security. And control number 1 and control number 2 are the most important controls. Know your hardware and know your software. There's actually a control set down in the controls that talks about limiting the number of browsers. And you have to think about it. If you get into a situation where you've got 4 or 5 browsers on your computer, it's very hard to keep all of them secure. So limit the browsers to, I say, a minimum of 2. So maybe Google and Edge, or Safari and Edge, Safari and Google. And just make sure that you're keeping those browsers updated on a regular basis. So that might be one that you don't use very often, but yeah, that's on your computer. Make sure that you're spending the time to understand the settings inside the browsers. For example, you never, ever, ever want to save a credential or a credit card number to a browser. I know that's convenient. Google still stores passwords and plain text inside the browser. If somebody was to get access to your browser, that's one of the first things that they're going to look for, passwords, because they know people do it. You should be keeping your passwords in a password manager like Keeper. Keeper Password Manager is one that I have used for a long time now, and I highly recommend it. So please just make sure that you spend the time, you're on the couch, watching football or whatever, get your laptop out, go to the settings, start looking through all the settings of the browser and what options are available, and specifically looking for the security features in the browser. The next article, and again, so this is the weekly cyber update. We're going through just kind of the latest headlines. If you have questions, please put them down in the comment area. We do this live stream to make sure that we're available live for you here. So if you have questions, if there's something you don't understand, if there's a resource that you need, that this is a opportunity for you to ask questions. I am Sean Baldwin. I'm the CEO of SecureCyber. I'm also the chairman and founder of the Go Cyber Collective, which is a cybersecurity nonprofit here in the Dayton, Ohio area. If you're in Southwest Ohio, Columbus area, and you are interested in getting together with like-minded folks, you do not have to be a cybersecurity expert to attend. Head out to gocybercollective.org, gocybercollective.org, and you will see the third Wednesday of every month. We meet at our office in Moraine, Ohio. We currently have anywhere between, it fluctuates, 60 to 90 people a month who come in. We provide a free breakfast and an opportunity for you to hear a relevant speaker and network with folks in the room. So we have a bunch of verticals represented. We have special interest groups. So if you're a defense contractor and you have questions about defense contracting or defense contracting regulations, we have hospitals, construction companies, a lot of local government. It's just an opportunity for you to not feel like you're alone with cybersecurity, and it's a safe place that you can come and learn. That's the most important thing. All right, so and one of the other leaking computer articles, we have a fake LastPass death claim used to breach password vaults. LastPass. This actually brings up a really good point. Number one, I would probably move from LastPass to a different password manager if you are on LastPass. That's just my personal recommendation. The other thing I bring up is this whole piece of legacy password, uh, the, uh, the problem of people passing and then people not having access to their passwords is a problem. Please make sure that you have set things up. I think in Apple, you can set up legacy folks that will have access to like your keychain if that's where you're keeping passwords. Keeper and password managers have the opportunity or the feature to allow you to also set that up. I know the live stream is freezing from time to time, so I apologize for that. It's probably because of the connectivity here randomly that we have. But please make sure you take the time to make sure that your passwords and critical passwords to applications and things that you might need on passes is available. We'll post the article for the LastPass phishing campaign, and so you can be aware of that going on today. Okay, so the next one is pretty important. So Gmail passwords are confirmed as part of the 183 million accounts that were breached, and the most important thing to know of this is you need to reset your Gmail password today. Actually, should have done it a week ago, but reset your account today. If you already have MFA, if you have MFA and you're like, hey, Sean, do I need to change my password because I have multi-factor authentication? The answer is yes. You should change your password. And then check on loved ones and people that have Gmail. Make sure that they know to change their password. If you follow me on Facebook, I've got a Facebook site that I do some weather stuff as well, but I also post cybersecurity related information. If you're interested in interacting with me from that perspective, it's the Waldman Report on Facebook. We are in the process of discussing having a private Facebook just for the cybersecurity portion so that I can help from that perspective too. But for right now, the Waldman Report actually has the link to that particular article that change your password today. Make sure that you have multi-factor. Maybe share on your own social channels that's going on. If you want to share my article, you can. If you want to just find the article yourself. This particular article is on Forbes, but you can find a ton of articles out there about the 183 million accounts that were compromised. You can also go to Have I Been Pawned? I don't want to do it here. I would normally share my screen from the office, but Have I Been Pawned is a really good website that you can go to insert your email addresses into to make sure that you haven't been compromised. I've shared that before. We're in speaking engagements, and people have been really surprised to see how many data breaches and cybersecurity incidents that they've been involved in that they had no idea. So this is all about awareness. This is all about making yourself aware and watching around you, watching your accounts, and those types of things. I just did an article for NBC4 in Columbus, Ohio, about the Federal Trade Commission being offline due to the government shutdown and what people are supposed to do in the event that they become a victim of identity theft. So, and I'm happy to record that as well separately and provide some information there. But the most important thing you can do right now is to freeze your credit, make sure that your credit is frozen. Contact all three, Experian, TransUnion, and forget the other one. Can look at my notes here. Equifax. So those are the three that you need to call and make sure that you have your credit frozen. So change those passwords today on Gmail. All right, this is the next article out of Bleeping Computer. Hackers use RMM tools to breach freighters and steal cargo shipments. So there's an RMM, remote management and monitoring. That's what an RMM is. Examples of RMM are things like AnyDesk, Screen Connect. Those are remote communications. You may be, your company may outsource your IT to a managed service provider, and they may be utilizing an RMM tool like that in order to manage you. In this particular case, hackers are taking advantage of these tools, which are a total good guy tools, guys. And we've talked about this before about how the bad guys use good guy stuff. It's called living off the land. It's a way to try and get around cybersecurity tools and protection mechanisms, because it's using just regular commercial or free tools that are readily available. And in this particular case, hackers are involved in a campaign where they're trying to get access, and they're specifically targeting freighting companies, cargo companies, to get that remote control agent on that operator's computer so that they can go in and start manipulating the cargo shipment software systems to redirect or reroute shipments and steal them. I know that sounds crazy, but if you go to YouTube, I think it's a 60 Minutes episode, Guy Fieri and a business partner of his actually developed this, it took them 3 years to make a batch of tequila. And it was a very limited batch. It went into two 18-wheelers for distribution inside the United States. A lot of people had pre-ordered this vodka, or not vodka, tequila. And the shipment was stolen. And a guy actually goes on 60 Minutes and talks about how it was stolen. I would imagine that it was this type of event that allowed them to steal that cargo and move it. So I guess this happens way more than people realize. And again, we're here to bring awareness. But I know our producer back home just posted, if you have questions, comments, suggestions, if you want to comment on one of the articles, please jump in and do that live. We're happy to answer your questions. But I thought this was an interesting article. Next article, we brought this to your attention last week. Google says search AI mode will know everything about you. And I believe one of the things I said was you should probably run from Google. And I would just be really careful. So there was a podcast, and Micah will post the article that has any bleeping computer article. It actually has a link to the podcast itself, where they were talking about how Google is upping the AI interaction with Gmail. And I would just be really careful about this. I would be really careful about using Gmail for commercial uses. So you should probably move to something like Google Workspace or Microsoft 365 for corporate level work. I would never use Google, Hotmail, Gmail, all those types of platforms for anything business related. But I think you should take a look at the article. I am not here to necessarily steer you in any direction. I believe in you all making decisions on your own based on the data and your research. But I really think you should take a look at the article. And if you're currently engaged with things like Google Drive and those types of things non-corporately, you should take a look at this and maybe start rethinking your access to Gmail. Here's another very interesting article. So OpenAI is confirming that GPT-5 is now better at handling mental and emotional distress. I've been in many conversations lately where people were telling me that they have been having personal conversations with AI. And I can definitely see where that would be possible. And when I say possible, we know it's happening. You probably know it's happening. But there's an update to ChatGPT 5 that is designed to detect somebody that might be talking about self-harm or some type of other mental or emotional distress situation, and start actually making recommendations for them to get help. So that's good to know. But there's a lot of discussions about people having, personal conversations. Um, maybe they live alone. They have anybody to talk to, and they're utilizing that platform in order for that. So, just an article indicating that GPT and OpenAI are working to help to address the mental and emotional stress situation that's out there today with AI. And here's an article of Australia warns of bad candy infections on unpatched Cisco devices. I bring this article up because, if you're in the business space and you've got aged devices at your organization, this particular vulnerability goes back to 2023 and just amplifies the fact that people are not patching things in a timely manner, nor are they taking devices, aged devices, offline and replacing them with newer devices. So I know when I speak publicly, a lot of what I recommend is people just looking at the age of devices that are in their environment today and replacing them if they're in the 4 to 5 year old range. We just recently, last month, ended Windows 10 support. So your home computer is Windows 10. You need to replace that because you can no longer get security patches for those devices. So this particular article is relevant too because a lot of the devices that they're talking about here are actually run on critical infrastructure. It could be our telecommunications backbone. It could be a water, wastewater, or power plant. So this is just, again, enforcing the fact that please keep your devices updated, reboot them often. A lot of times reboots kick bad guys out of environments if they haven't hooked up what's called persistence, meaning that they've rooted themselves in and given them an opportunity to get back in even after a reboot. So take a look at the article. If you have these types of Cisco devices in your environment, please, I would probably just replace these devices with something else, but at least go through the process of Cisco's recommendations and have this resolved. In the article as well, we mentioned there will be mention of a iOS hardening guide. So if you're interested in just what are the hardening protocols, how can I make these devices more secure, there's a link to the iOS hardening guide. And then there's also a link to the actual Cisco bulletin that gives you the actual Cisco advisory that gives you some more information. And it is a critical one, and it's 2 years old. So I hate to be talking about that, even with the age there. So that is all of the articles I had to work through today. I don't see anything in the comments. We are still working very hard. Producer Micah and my son Nathan are working very hard to work through some of the technical things on the back end to just make these streams more enjoyable. Things like, putting article lists linked at the bottom of the videos and when I'm talking about them. When we get back in the studio, you'll see some enhancements in the studio. We're going to work harder to get these out, advertising them and letting people know that these types of things are going on so that we can get a better audience. But, I'm not trying to get myself to be some world-renowned cyber guy. I'm just trying to create a safe circle of people that use me as a trusted advisor. So the best thing that you can do is, you get an hour of free consulting. You have to listen to some articles, but use this as an opportunity to ask questions. If you want to get those questions ahead of time, you can always email us at info@secdef.com, info@seccdef.com, and we're happy to use those in future shows. We're already building the show for next week. So if you've got something that you want us to dig into, do some research on, we're happy to take those ahead of time. So I really appreciate you joining today. Like I said, in the future, please share this stream, and even once it gets up, share it with others. Let people know that we're out here as your advocate, looking forward to putting information out there for you. If you are in the Southwest Ohio area, you can go to gocybercollective.org and sign up to be part of our group. Would be happy to have you. And I'm going to get back to my conference, and I go speak here in about 2 hours, and I'll catch you next time. And hey, let's be careful.